Good morning. We are live. It's Wednesday, my friends. My name is Jennifer Tom, and I'm with my favorite friend,
Darlene Rample.
Yes, and we are so excited because, as I promised on my live video, we'll be talking about the power of forgiveness. And please grab your coffee. We've got our coffee ready. We've got our special mugs from Be Well. Stronger Life Connections. We love these mugs. You know what I love most is that they keep it so warm.
Yes. Great coffee.
So I'm excited. The power of forgiveness is such a big topic. And I'm excited because Darlene is going to read a quote for us, The Power of Forgiveness.
Okay, so this is from a book called The Grief Recovery Method Handbook. And it is from James and Russell, or John James and Russell Friedman are the authors of it. And they define forgiveness as giving up hope of a different or better yesterday. Yes.
Could you say that again? Because that's deep.
Forgiveness is giving up hope of a different or better yesterday.
So good. So good. Let's just take a minute and think about that. Like, that is so deep. And I can see you, my friends, my two friends online. Hello, give us a thumbs up if you have any questions about forgiveness. That's the topic we're talking about.
Yes.
And we'll be able to give you the amazing nuggets. And the question for today is, where is it?
Right here.
What have you learned in your life from forgiveness? Thank you for the thumbs up. What have you learned in your life for forgiveness? I also love this. I had to write this down because I thought this is also powerful to share. Forgiveness has to do with a decision that you are just going to forgive the weight that you are carrying around about something that has impacted you.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Throughout my life, and I'm going to share a personal story, life events have happened in my life, and I've carried the weight. So from the video, I was sharing a personal story about when my dad died, I felt some weird guilt. And to release it, I had to do some soul writing. And soul writing, what I mean by that is that I wrote a letter to my dad, and I think I've shared here before. And I asked him for forgiveness because I realized through my grief, I felt guilty. I felt guilty that I took my dad for granted. I didn't appreciate him as how I know how to appreciate now. And I felt guilty about it. And for me to ask for forgiveness in my soul writing, I put that weight down and I was able to live and be present. So do you have somebody that you're carrying the weight and you need to release? That's the topic for today. That's what we are talking about.
Yes.
And Darlene, my friend, for those who don't know, Darlene is a social worker counselor. She will unpack that for us. She'll tell us, how do you do? Because I even have a friend who was saying that, how do you forgive? Like, we all know, we all get hurt. We all know that people offend us, whether it's your friends, your loved one. But how do you release it? How do you forgive and not have resentment? And Darlene is here today to share with you, my friends, how to do that. Because we all need it.
Yes, we all are weighed down, right? By loss, by guilt, by unforgiveness in our lives. And one problem about forgiveness is how we define it. And often, and this is actually from the same book, right? Grief and Loss. Forgiveness is probably one of the least understood concepts in the world. And most people seem to convert the word forgive to condone.
Mm.
So if you don't know, forgiveness, if you look in the dictionary, is to cease to feel resentment against somebody. So that's what Jen was talking about. That's what it's talking about, letting go of wanting something different or wanting things to have worked out different, and actually letting go of that resentment. And that's a personal thing. To condone is to treat as if it was trivial, harmless, or of no importance. And so sometimes I know in my own life, when I have thought about forgiveness, one of the things that stopped me from letting go was the fear that whatever happened, the pain in my life, would be trivialized or no one would remember it. And it would be, if I forgave, that means that it wouldn't be acknowledged or important. And I think sometimes in our forgiveness, when we can actually acknowledge our pain and be able to talk about it, acknowledge to it someone, and then we can choose, as Jen said, we can choose to acknowledge that pain, and then we can choose to let go of the resentment. And then, but not, that doesn't mean what happened was right. It doesn't mean what happened will be forgotten, but it will be that we acknowledge what happens and then we can let go of that resentment. So we can take the weight off. So when Jen was talking about writing that letter, acknowledging what she wanted to be forgiven for, apologizing, right? And then accepting, then that choice of reading that letter out and then accepting that, you know what, I'm going to let go of wanting a different past. I'm going to let go of that past, of not trying to change that past, because it'll never be changed. But we can let go of that weight and walk forward.
Powerful. If you're loving this, check out our website. Join us on our everyday Wednesday at 1 p.m. on our group where we can go deep about these talks. We come here to just share the little nuggets and just to talk and share and help each other to live in the present, because that's what we want. I am going to share also something, and we are going to recommend a book about forgiveness that has been written by Annette Stanwyck. We'll show you a page, and I am going to read from When Flowers Aren't Enough. We have a quote from Annette. She was part of our book, and oh, this was deep. And grab a copy of this book if you want to read more, but I will read a quote from Annette. And this is what it says. Odila's response when her dad passed away, in a very determined voice, she said, "I will never get over the death of your father." Odila thought that by not getting over her husband's death, she was being loyal to him. She didn't realize that she could work through her grief and still stay loyal in his memory. Her beliefs, however, complicated the grief process and kept her stuck in grief. She suffered from mental illness for over a decade because she did not know any other way to heal. Annette, thank you so much for sharing that quote on our book, because that is what we're talking about today. We carry the weight. It can affect us in many ways. My friends who are watching, you've met people who are so bitter. You've met people who are not happy, and they are part of our families, they're part of our friends. And most of the times it's because there is no forgiveness. And when you carry and you decide you're not going to forgive and you walk around with bitterness and anger, it's a loss for many of us. It's a loss because we are all created with greatness, with joy, and we should not let unforgiveness take that away from us.
Yeah, it keeps us living in the past.
Yes.
We want to get forward and live in the future, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in the present.
I would love to share the copy of the book. If you can grab this book from Annette Stanwyck, it is a powerful book, and she shared with us, we've read it, and we love the book. We're trying to get it. That's okay. If we don't have it, we'll share with our page. It's called...
Yeah, we'll put it on the page.
We'll put it on page that you can just check it out. But it's so powerful. to have forgiveness.
Yes.
So our time is up. Please, it's been 10 minutes. It's been a joy. Thank you so much for tuning in. We always love showing up every Wednesday at 10. If there's any topic you'd like us to cover, please let us know, because it's always a joy to connect with you. And that's why we started Stronger Life Connection, to connect, to do the hard talk, to talk about the elephant in the room. Till next Wednesday, stay safe.